Hi, my name is Demi and I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis in 2015. I was born and raised in the Philippines and moved to the US when I was 32. My IBD symptoms did not appear until about a few months before I turned 40. I'm the only person in our family with IBD or has experienced any IBD symptoms. And I suspect that my disorder was perhaps triggered by my work. I've been working in the hospitality industry for the past 24 years. And the hospitality industry, as you may know, is highly stressful, especially now. My IBD symptoms started to appear in July 2014. I started noticing the presence of blood in my stools. They were just streaks. So it wasn't too alarming, and I thought, perhaps I just have hemorrhoids, or maybe I ate something bad. And so I decided to observe, and then for some reason, by the end of the week, I didn't see any blood in my stools anymore. So I didn't take it seriously. But then, in October of the same year, the presence of blood came back, and this time, I noticed I was also experiencing diarrhea. I didn't have any fever, but I did experience bloating and cramps. And for some reason, my stomach would make these loud churning noises even if I was asleep at night. What alarmed me was the frequency of my bowel movements. On a regular day, I'd go to the bathroom 2 to 3 times in the morning, but this time it increased to 7 to 10 bathroom trips in a day. And it was alarming because it was affecting my quality of life, it was affecting my work. And at that point, after 2 weeks, when I didn't see any results, I said to myself, it's time to seek medical treatment. The first thing I did upon receiving my diagnosis was to immediately share the news with my family, my friends, and my coworkers. I felt it was important for them to understand and know what to expect from me in terms of the changes that I wanted to make on my diet, my lifestyle, my commitments, changes in my time and in my schedule. And so far, everyone has been very understanding and supportive, especially my husband, who said that I don't need to cook 2 separate meals at home and that he'll eat whatever I cook, even if it's a very strict diet, because he didn't want me to feel alone. And for that, I love him even more. As far as my work, they were also supportive and accommodating. They gave me an office that's closer to the bathroom to make me feel comfortable. There are a lot of changes that I've made in my life for the past 7 years. But one of the most important things for me is the bathroom situation. I'm very particular about the availability of bathrooms anywhere I go. If I can research in advance, whether if I'm traveling or going to a restaurant, that's something that I do. I'm also particular about menus, and so that's something I also plan ahead. And then if there are opportunities for me to nap before going to an engagement, I do that because naps are necessary for me to recharge, because I get tired easily now more than ever. And then also one of the things that I've changed was now I wake up earlier than everyone else, and this is to make sure that I empty my bowels before I head to work. And I know it's only been 7 years, but there's a lot more that I know I need to learn and adjust to as time goes by. I've had the same GI doctor for the past 7 years, and what I appreciate about her is that she's a great listener, she's easy to get hold of, and She also understands that I'm motivated to stay healthy because of my love of travel. Since my diagnosis, I've only been on one medication alone, and that is mesalamine. I started taking 4 capsules for my first 6 years of having UC, and then just last year, my doctor increased it to 6 capsules. Whenever I experience a flare, I take suppositories, also mesalamine, to help keep the symptoms under control, and it has been working ever since. I do understand that at some point, these meds might stop working, and I'm actually open to looking at other treatments that my doctor would recommend. And I trust that she will choose the best treatment for me. But in the meantime, while my current medication is still working and there's no cure for IBD just yet, the best I can do really right now is control whatever I can control and make the most of what life has to offer.
Demi talks about living with inflammatory bowel disease. When you live with inflammatory bowel disease, there are some changes you need to make in your day-to-day life. This depends on your disease process, what medications you're on, what surgeries you've had, and what type of work you do and the support you have. Some of the things Demi talks about are very common to patients with inflammatory bowel disease, knowing where the bathroom is. That's one of the first things that patients will tell me, is that wherever they go, they need to know where the bathroom is. Planning ahead, this can be planning meals, as Demi does when you go out to dinner, knowing what you can eat, understanding your limits in terms of work and exercise, and also having support. And in Demi's case, it was a partner. There is a lot of stress on partners as well. And so sometimes people need to address this jointly with therapy and with talking and communicating as to what the next steps are. Things I tell my patients is that your disease does not define you and should not limit where you go in life. To do that, ideally, you need to be under symptomatic control and in remission. And that is a goal for all of our patients. You definitely want to discuss with your doctor symptoms that you're having. Don't just accept them, because some of them can be addressed. One of the most common symptoms patients with inflammatory bowel disease have is fatigue. Fatigue can be due to low vitamin levels. It can be due to anemia. It can be treated by treating ongoing inflammation, but also improving your sleep habits and exercise. Some patients also complain of loose bowel movements with fatty foods or other specific foods. So some of this may be understanding what you can eat. If you've had surgery for Crohn's disease, it may be being on a medication that binds bile acids. These are all things that can be addressed by your provider. Another example of helping with sleep and with loose stools are in patients who have a J pouch, who often need to get up at night to move their bowels. Sometimes taking an antidiarrheal before you go to sleep can help mitigate that. So whatever your symptom, you can work with your healthcare provider to address it. It may not be perfect, but it should be better than where you are now.